What's up, YouTube fans? We're back again with another Wednesday Night Live. I have my buddy, Mr. Michael Rogers, joining us.
Hello, everyone.
And we're going to talk about accessories today. So,
Oh,
we
hold on one
recently
second.
got two figures, both with lots and lots of accessories. And we might even use that as an example today. But we wanted to talk about what you guys think about accessories, what's too much, what's not enough, which kind of accessory do you like. We'll get into that kind of stuff. Before I get started, though, I had several people hit me up about joining this live stream, and I don't. So I guess to say it in the nicest way possible, I don't invite strangers on to the show. I met Mike in person. I've been talking to him for a while now, and I got to know him. But normally, I don't just invite random people. So I know you guys want to participate, so that's why we have the chat. That's why we're going to do polls tonight. That's how we're going to engage. And I appreciate you, Mike, for coming.
Oh, and as always, thanks for letting me come on here and talk Transformers with you.
Yeah, for sure. We also have G Tony and maybe Dr. Diecast in the comments helping to moderate. So if we miss your comment or something like that, they'll try to mention it to us so we don't miss anything. Let's just say hi to a few people here. What's up, Ricky, Gregory, Brian G, Gil, D Puff, Dr. Diecast? Oh, he is here. What's up, Jermaine? Fans Toys, yep. X-Trans Bugs, both. Dave Killaruri. See anybody I missed? If I missed anybody, thank you for joining us today. So why don't we start off with the first question?
Okay.
But this came up, I guess, because of the two Perceptors and the myriad of accessories. So the question is, how often do you use the accessories that come with your Transformers? So I'm specifically talking about not the guns, so not the weapons, but the others. So I'm going to put that in the chat. Mike, I'm curious on your thoughts about that.
Well, I guess really it comes down to what accessories are coming in with a figure. Thanks, T-Man. Besides the guns and the other regular items, it really is subjective. I mean, you can take the Seekers. We've gone through Seeker Mania here in January, and the
That's
blast effects with the Takara Tomy products, and whatnot. Those are ones that I think most people are going to have on there because it enhances that figure. It brings a little bit more life into it.
Right.
But I mean, there are certain aspects. I mean, how many times you're going to sit there and swap out a head, especially with some of the older figures that you had to, get a screwdriver and, modify it that way just to get it on there. It's just so much effort. Right. So, and really it comes down to how a lot of how a lot of us display our collections. Some of us might have space limitations or just how we want to place things. And
so did you like what came with MP52? Or actually, do you have MP52?
I have Thundercracker.
You have Thundercracker. Did you like what came in the box?
Yes, for the most part. Now, the blast effects, I really wish they would have just had two identical parts instead of like the long blast effect and then like the short burst. I kind of want that symmetry when I have those on. But overall, I mean, the thrusters, again, I'm never going to use it like that because I won't have my figures displayed that way. But I mean, the other parts, again, the extra faces, if it's easy to come off and such, even then it depends on when I want to go through and actually switch them out.
Right.
That's what kind of was funny with this whole discussion, starting up with the Perceptors and how these two companies provided all these different add-ons, enhancements, accessories, whatever the term you want to call.
Yeah. That was definitely a change, I think. I don't think they were going to do that originally. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't think Fans Toys was planning to put that many heads. And actually, if you look in the package, you just got yours today, right?
I did get mine today, yes.
So if you look in the package, you can see there weren't enough slots for all the stuff.
No, and it's funny, and you mentioned in your review that each of the bags that the head was in is numbered. So I think they had to, hurry up and add those extra ones in and want to make sure they had the right ones going in and not having duplicates or something. So, but
Yeah, so that's an interesting one. I like that you brought up the MP52. Now, let's twist this a little bit. What
mhm,
about the price? So Takara's version is 250, right? Around there, give or take.
mhm,
And the deformation spaces is 140 or around there, give or take.
right.
So if they're charging us for those accessories, do you then say, I like these accessories, or does it become, I don't want them?
That's a good question. I mean, because if you look at deformation space, they really didn't come with anything besides the arm weapons. I don't
Right.
want to use the
Well,
wrong
and
term
it
for
was
what they
two
are.
faces, right? Just two faces.
Yes, and two faces as well. Then you have Takara's plethora of extra pieces.
Yeah.
Um, if they're useful, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Again, if I'm going to buy the figure, it's buying it for the
Right.
figure. Sometimes the accessories are just that they're nice to haves. But what a majority of us going to do with it is they're going to go back in the box
Back in the box.
or in a storage area, or some people have
Right.
like just saying they're throwing them in a drawer. And then you walk by it, you have all these little plastic bags everywhere. People think you have another problem or
So
you're doing
I
some sort of side business.
for MP52 though, I actually have all of those out because
Okay.
only for the jet modes, but for the robot modes, I don't need the stand, right? I
Hmm.
don't need a stand and I don't need the blast effects that come out of the feet. I only need the weapon blast effects. But
Right.
the rest of it has to go back in the box because I don't want it cluttering up my display. But the jets, it's nice to have the stand because it displays the jet with the blast effects and everything on it.
Hmm.
So it kind of works, but also if I paid an extra $100 for it, I'd rather not have it.
Well,
Let's
again,
look at this result here.
sure.
So it says only 34 people voted, but most 41% said several times, which surprised me. I thought the majority is going to be once, when you open the box,
Hmm.
basically. So at least I guess people still use them. There was 21% said never. So
Okay.
literally open it and don't even take it out. Just leave it in there and display your figure. I don't think I've ever done that. I think, and mostly because it's reviews, right?
All right.
I gotta look at it.
Yeah, but at least I'm with you. At least I have to play around with it once just to see how it looks.
Yeah. What
Um,
about Jansen? Are you displaying him with all that, the beaker and the test tube and
what I'm thinking for him, and kind of goes into how I want to put him in the display that I'm planning out, is I'm definitely going to use the flask and beaker
yeah.
for that item or for him. Um, so yeah, I think that part will work.
So let me ask the next question, and while I'm doing this, you can
Sure.
give your thoughts. So what type of accessories do you think we should be getting with figure? Or what's your preference? If they asked you, hey, what do you want? What would you want in your box?
Okay.
Let me give you the choices so that
Oh, okay.
so additional weapons, heads or faces, whatever,
Mhm.
effects like blast effects, smoke effects, blah blah blah, bad body damage, or that thing from that one scene from that one show.
I think it's going to be a mix between extra weapons or enhancements for weapons that come with the figure, or extra faces. The one scene from that one episode stuff, I don't really need. I mean, going back to what you said with Starscream, are you ever going to put the little claw in the
No,
wrist position?
never, never.
Um, but having a variety of faces to make that figure more expressive. And again, it depends, like if you're going to have it just stoically sitting there, or if you're going to try to create some sort of scene or story that those extra faces are going to help bring that scene to life a little bit more. So
My poll isn't working, so I lost control. So let me go grab that.
you left it wide open.
I did. So now it's
So,
on you.
uh,
Um, so me personally, I think I like weapon effects
mhm.
because almost always I'm displaying it with, in a pose where it's shooting a weapon or at least getting ready to shoot a weapon. So I wanted to Oops. I'm gonna have to mute this. I want it to be kind of dynamic.
Okay.
So for that reason, I'd probably want weapon effects myself.
Well, let's look back at these last two Fans Toys releases in regards to Acoustic Wave and Tesla, with like the ability to change the figures look between with like Acoustic Wave going from a toy
Oh
to a
yeah,
premium
yeah.
effect, or with Tesla now you have the option of switching out the chest plate.
I see people mentioning something. I don't know if can you just check if there's one of the
Sure.
mods while I'm doing this. I don't know why it won't
Uh,
let me. It won't let me poll anymore.
well, just call me BB says I think we should get more accessories that fit the character, faces, other items, and etc. I absolutely agree with you on that. Um, things that make that character stand out without, you know, just being there, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Um, Lowell says my figures are displayed in interactive action poses. So when you say that, or you're basically you're setting yourself up with your articulation. Um, and how do you use those? How do you use these accessories to work with your display, Lowell? That's a really good question here.
I just now figured out what I'm doing wrong.
Okay.
Too many characters. So I typed too much in. All right, so there's the poll. I'm really sorry, guys. That took me a minute to figure out. Again, we're still getting used to the technology here. So let me put this back up on the screen. You guys can see it. So what type of accessory do you think should come with every figure? I said additional weapons. So beyond the first one, right? Everyone needs the one gun or the one whatever. But beyond the first one, additional weapons, heads or faces, effects, or the thing from that one scene. And so you said, what was your preference? Heads and
I was saying heads and faces
yeah.
and effects between those two. Sometimes the additional weapons, you kind of have that signature item for a figure, and you don't really want to swap out. Like again with the rig, he came with 3 different guns. Most everyone's going to at least either display the one short pistol or both.
Right. What was nice about Rig though is those weapons could combine and then make and store together and it actually looked like it, purposeful.
Yes, and that's kind of the thing that I went into with when I started getting the mainline stuff and getting back into it with the War for Cybertron, was that gimmick of having that ability to accessorize it, whether you call it a gimmick or what, with the 5mm holes all over the figure. But that was options to help you change it around. Give yourself something new to look at each day.
Someone brought up decal sheets. I didn't actually think of that. Now, if they're Autobot and Decepticon symbols, I don't think they can actually do that
You're right.
They'll probably get in trouble. But I've seen a couple. So like Transform Element, some versions actually had the little Autobot symbol for his shoulder in it.
Mm-hmm. And Fans Hobby came with the Junior Headmasters. He just came with a sticker sheet to add on to the character.
But no,
because it was
no Autobot symbol, right?
No Autobot symbol, no.
Yeah. So let's see what people said. So it's pretty much split across the board on this one.
Interesting. Okay.
Looks like 29%. So about 30% for additional weapons, 30% for faces, 20% effects, and then 20% for that one scene. I didn't think anybody was going to vote for that thing from that one scene, but I guess they voted for it. Yeah, for me, so like this thing, the little, rock. What this caused the
cosmic rust. Mm-hmm.
Like it's nice, but I prefer not to pay the whatever the $5 that they're charging me and just take it out.
Right.
So I would like additional weapons first, and then second heads and faces.
Right.
Now, if you give me both, that's great. I'll take both.
Absolutely. And Dr. Diecast said premium Downbeat Premium had a decal sheet, which it did. It had everything to make that figure more tune accurate, but I don't believe that it had faction symbols with it. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat here, but and T-Man
very rarely.
T-Man goes, I think the purpose of blast effects and everything that is included with these figures is because they're called masterpiece. Right. This is an absolute be-all and end-all version of the character. I can appreciate that sentiment, but is it the accessories that make the figure a masterpiece, or is it the figure itself. And that's a question people have been going back and forth with this month, and even beyond before that, in regards to, well, this figure has heft with die cast, and this figure has super articulation, and you can you can put them on a handstand or whatnot.
Well,
But does it make it any less of a masterpiece because it doesn't have
right.
accessories with it?
Let me end
That's
this poll, and then I'm going to ask you a question. So you got Medicus, right? Or you have it on the way, I guess.
He'll be here Saturday.
So Medicus. So if you don't know, that's Ocular Max's version of First Aid. So that has one thing in the box, and it's a teeny. And let me put this question in, and I'll ask you. But it has one thing, which is that one gun. There's nothing else in the box, but the figure is pretty nice. So do you feel, if you got something like that, if you open that box and the only thing in there is that gun, do you feel like you missed out?
Well, that's a good question, and specifically with this figure, because what First Aid is part of a team. He's going to be combining with his other teammates to form Defensor. So it comes about the fact that, are you going to want a whole bunch of accessories to go with him if you are going to put him in combined mode?
He's not going to be displayed that way,
right? And it kind of goes back to the figure itself and the character. First Aid was supposed to be a pacifist, or is a pacifist, I should say. So you kind of like say, well, it's not really a gun; it's like a fixing tool or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It doesn't diminish my anticipation for him. And then comparatively, when you go back talking with that figure and you look at what X Transbots is putting out with their First Aid, and I think they're adding the parts forming aspects in as an accessory.
Sorry, I just got to put this
okay.
up. Deluxe says they should make every figure clear plastic. Yeah, if we want all of our figures broken.
And every accessory should be clear plastic too, so that way you lose them, or it's like a Lego, you step on them everywhere you turn.
Let's just make the box clear so that when they ship it to you, you can just see right through.
So,
all right. So I asked another question: was what type of accessories would you want to get rid of? Same for category: additional weapons, heads and faces, effects, or that thing from that one scene. I think we know our answer. It's going to be the thing from the one scene.
Yes, absolutely.
Dr. Dice says Medicus should have had the Metroplex cog. Did he have that in the show? Why is that Medicus, or why First Aid?
That's a good question, because I thought with the episodes, it was Pipes and Blur that was trying to get the cog over to Metroplex, and I can't remember if Pipes was the one who was actually putting it in place or not. Someone can let us know what's the right answer for that.
Didn't Springer come with that?
No, Springer came with the missile or bomb, whatever from the movie.
They said Medicus is all in one, so that's something to consider, right? It's got the hand part inside, built into the figure, whereas most combiners, the hand part comes extra, with another figure, and they have to charge you for it because the combiner parts are going to add to the packaging and the shipping and the cost. So that's something to consider. Is, hey, this figure already got the hand in it. All right, let's see. So 46% said that thing from that one scene, which doesn't surprise me. I would also get rid of that too.
Right.
All right. So another question for, I guess I'm asking you until you can ask the rest. How often do you purchase third-party or 3D printed accessories beyond what came with it?
Actually, I'm pretty regular with purchasing some stuff. A lot of things came from watching your reviews with New Supply, is where I got a lot of the blast effects for the Fans Toys mini bots. Quietus,
what you're saying, right?
I thank you, not blame. Never blame. But no, I mean, those items were great in regards to if they're built well, they're absolutely great to buy. We had the challenge in regards to the Takara Tomy RC's chest replacement.
Yeah.
That was another accessory that kind of worked, but it was the build quality of it kind of helped, well, not help, but it kind of hurt with that. You were
Wait,
reviewing some of the
oh, you mean the chest? Yeah.
yes,
He's
and
making another one, by the way. So
I saw.
Hafiz Zul is who he's talking about. So Hafiz has a Facebook page if you're interested. He makes all sorts of stuff. He's making a coronation set for Deformation Space, or was that Deformation Space. He's
Mhm.
making other parts and pieces for different bots. But the thing that he was kind of known is RC chest. It looks beautiful. It's painted beautifully. Oh, I sent you one.
Yes,
Did you install it?
not yet.
Okay.
So
So everyone I've sent it to has broken it, but they're able to glue it back on, but it's broken.
okay,
And the reason is he used resin instead of a hard plastic, like
okay,
ABS, and the resin had a bubble or a hole right in the joint, like the very thin piece. So basically, it's very easy to break. So you have to be really careful with it.
okay.
But other than that, it's like a really awesome piece. And now they're coming out with the Rose something RC, third party RC that
Mhm.
has the upgraded, the improved chest that doesn't sit like a shelf.
It's like the chest and the face has changed or something.
Yeah.
So
Yes. T-Man says for some financially responsible people, the one character they buy, maybe the only character they ever get, having a whole bunch of options would be a lot of fun. Yeah, so that makes sense. If you're only going to buy MP44 because you love Optimus Prime,
mhm.
throw everything in that box because this is my one and only Optimus. I
Right.
can see that. Jermaine says, I love this figure because they like the cartoon. They look like a cartoon I loved as a kid. Yeah. So I think cartoon accuracy has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah.
What is it? How does it remind you of the cartoon? All right. So let's see what people said. How often do you purchase third party or 3D printed accessories? 42%. Several times. That also really surprises me. I thought most people would be never or once. Well, I guess it is about 50%.
Yeah.
About 50% said never or once. The other half is several times or all the time. So that's kind of surprising.
Okay. So Lowell says the main reason I ordered Jansen was for the extras. I'm still happy with Testa 1.0, so I don't need a new one. Receptor was never a favorite of mine. Okay. So you went for it for the extras. So what happens, Lowell, if someone comes out in a couple weeks and says, hey, I have all these 3D printed accessories for Tesla 2.0 now, and they are strikingly similar to what you bought Jensen for? How's that going to affect your view of the figure and future purchases?
Right.
And when are accessories too much? And I don't really have anything to back that question up, an example,
I was
but
trying to think of a figure that I got recently
right,
where it was just absurd, and now I can't even remember what it was.
right.
Um,
Or a question is, what accessory came with a figure that you couldn't use at all? And for me, what popped in my head was Sovereign and the blast effect. Looks great, but it's too heavy.
yeah,
You know,
it's a
you
useless.
can't really use it.
So that's an open question to people in the chat. So I'm not going to do a poll for that one.
Yeah.
So what accessory did you get? Which figure was it? And what accessory did you get that was not useful, or you might as well have not included it because it doesn't do anything? That Sovereign's a great example because
Mhm.
it looks fine, but as soon as you put it on, it doesn't work.
Right. And what happened, we had the people in the community with 3D print their own version that was lighter and, still looks great.
Yeah, that one's really nice. So
So,
New Supply made one. In case you guys are curious, New Supply has a 3D printed blast effect for Sovereign.
mhm. And another thing that you review that I saw a lot of people going for as well in regards to getting enhancements for their figures. You had the light up effects that I think you got for your HasLab Unicron.
Right.
And with the Arc, you saw a lot of people waiting. I mean, clamoring as soon as it was was released was like, oh, we need these add-on effects to get rid of the gaping holes in the side. So that's where, the call for accessories is so important, just to give that feel of completion for some collectors.
Yeah. So the one person said Prime's trailer. That's a tricky one because if you don't include it, then you can't complete Prime in alt mode. But if you do include it, it increases the price crazy high, and it makes the packaging big. So now you have more expense for the packaging, more expense for shipping, and the figures more like for transform elements. A really good example. It didn't come with a trailer. It was super cheap. It was like $100. But now if you display it, you've got to have another trailer. Like you got to have MP40. Well, no, sorry,
Oh,
you have MP10
right.
because it had an adapter for MP10.
And it comes back again. How are you displaying your collection? Are you displaying it in bot mode, or are you displaying it in alt mode, or do you have the space where you're doing both?
So it's officially in there. What figure and accessories have you gotten that aren't useful? I'm trying to think of my own. I would say the space rock and the claw,
Mm-hmm.
totally useless to me. I'm never going to use that.
Yeah. Or
other than the review.
right. And I'm thinking of other ones off the top of my head. Like I purchased Neptune off you, and I've yet to put those jet ski or the skis onto MP Bumblebee or use the beach ball or anything like that.
Right.
It's there for looks, just to be there. I mean, it's one of those accessories that doesn't really fit because you never really saw Sea Spray running around with those items.
Right. So this guy says the Starscream accessories for Prime. Oh, to make him into Starscream. Yeah. I'm never going to use that.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you're displaying Prime, why would you display him as Starscream?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's a good one. Let me see. So Lowell says the blast effect with FT Galvatrons was dumb. That plastic. Yeah, so we talked about that one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he also brought up the Jeep cover for Takara Tomy Hound.
I'm way
never
behind.
seen anyone use that. Oh,
sorry. Where was that
that's
one?
good.
Let me catch up.
No worries.
Walter says I got Infinite KO, Transformations, Megatron, all extra that came with is cool. That one does. I mean, Megatron has a ton of stuff. So, that's a good example. The helmet, the mind control helmet.
Again,
it looks cool. It's painted well. It's nice, but 90% of the time, you're not going to display him mind controlling.
right.
That opportunist.
Right.
Prime's trailer is awesome for reviewers. Yeah, it is nice for reviewers because we use it to show things, right? We display things with it or put things into Prime's trailer, which is funny. Let me see. Did I miss any others? Oh, here. Most figure series are just items from that one episode gimmicks. We need more display set pieces, accessories, thrown sets. Yeah, I'm all for that, especially blast effects, because those can be used no matter how you have the thing displayed, right? You can always use blast effects. Oh, XTB Neptune, ski and the beach ball. Oh, yeah. I actually don't mind the skis that much, but the bucket and the scooper or the whatever, the shovel, I'm never, ever taking that out of the box. I mean, it's nice. It's a really high quality accessory. That's actually one of the ones I was thinking. I couldn't remember it. Thanks for mentioning that in the comments. That came with so much stuff, and it's nice, but it makes me wonder, did it affect the price or not? Because that was a pretty low cost figure to begin. Was it $60?
I can't remember.
I think it was like $70 at the most.
An accessory that a lot of people don't really think about, but I know you display yours, the little cards. Do you consider that a valid accessory that comes with the figure? And does it matter to a lot of people that they're in there? I mean,
yeah, the Jeep cover for Hound I would never use because I want to show if it's in vehicle mode, you probably have Daniel inside, or sorry, not Daniel, Spike inside, and you want to see Spike, so you're not going to cover him up with a cover.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, Raiken cushion, Space Rock and the Claw. Yep, I mentioned that one. The Eye of Metroplex that came with the XTB sweeps. I don't have that figure. Do you have the sweeps?
I have no, I don't have the sweeps. I mean, I have Scourge, and he didn't come with
You didn't come with
the
that.
eye.
Yeah.
He came with the Target Master.
Dr. Diecast says the Hound scuba face. Yep. Never, unless you've set up like a underwater scene or something, almost never going to use.
Right.
It's going to look weird. Let's see, Inferno has a useless chest piece to hold Red Alert. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yes.
I forgot about that completely. Yeah. That was solely because he couldn't hold him without the piece, right?
Right.
Like you couldn't orient the arms. So you needed this piece to put him for the one scene from the one episode where he held Red Alert.
Now
there's like price, like took up a lot of room, real estate in the box.
Now here's the thing: the humans, Spike and Daniel, and someone mentioned Chip, and T-Man brought up Raul. Are those valid figures to have, or accessories to have? Do they enhance your display, or are they other things like, oh, they're too small, they don't fit right, and they're just thrown to the side?
Well, I'll get to this comment. Deluxe says Grimlock's waiter stuff. I actually had those, and somebody asked if they could have them, and so I sent it over. And then he took this beautiful. Oh, do you know Epic Disaster?
Mm-hmm.
So he has a YouTube channel, and he also posts a lot of pictures. He's like a great photographer, but he took a picture of Grimlock with that stuff on it, serving like the other Autobots. For that one picture, yes, amazing. But after that, I mean, you're probably not going to use it.
Exactly.
That's a good example, Deluxe. Thanks. D Puffs is the left leg of Jansen. I'm gonna. David says the blast effect for sweep. Sweep? He came with a blast effect. Oh, he's talking about the Hasbro, the Studio Series 86.
Okay.
So I like that. I like that the Studio Series is coming with blast effects. I think that's a good thing to throw in there. It makes display a lot more fun. Wow, there's a lot in here, so I'm pretty far behind now. Storage sled, yep, that goes right back in the box. Never using the storage sled.
Yeah.
Grimlock's waiter stuff. Yeah. Take photos of mind control. The screw and the chunk are junk. Yeah. All right. Oh, trailer hitch for MP10's trailer that came with Transform Element Prime. I actually use it. So
okay.
I will put the trailer on Transform Element and display it that way. Especially if I have MP10, and this is a me problem, but if I have MP10 on my review stage, and I can put Transform Element with the trailer on my display. Most people are never doing, like, you don't take it out, right? You just leave it in the display.
Well, what I'm finding interesting is the guys in the chat. There's a few people who are like, yeah, I love to have the human figures, and they're great. And
yeah,
I'm surprised with that, because I felt a lot of people were
human figures
not into it.
Yeah. So T-Man brought up Raul that comes with tracks. So how do you feel about human figures? Like they're not figures, actually. They're just figurines, because they don't pose. Their arms don't move, the legs don't move. I like the ones where they move, because you can pose them inside the thing or with the figure and some dynamic thing. But the ones that don't move, like Raul, I'm not a huge fan. What do you think about them?
It's one of those things, like, if you're going to have them there, unless you're specifically building a scene, they should be accessories. They're going to be action figures. So if there is the ability to put them inside a vehicle, why not?
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know where this came from, but I don't take my figures into the bathtub, just into the bathroom.
Good to know.
Oh, Chip Chase and the wheelchair.
Yeah.
I was okay with it for display, but like I said, it's not, you can't do anything with it. You can't pose it. You can't put him inside the vehicle. You can't ride in there. So I don't know. Oh, the girl of the Power Glide. Yeah, DX9's Richtofen.
Oh, yeah. What was her name?
That little odd woman. I don't remember. She had a yellow dress on. But again, not posable.
Nope.
So all you can do is stand her next to Powerglide. She looks nice, but unless you're in that one pose, then that's it. These are good examples, man. There's a lot on here. Deluxes, I love taking toilet selfies with my Transformers. Okay, interesting.
Yes.
All right, I don't know if you see any others.
Nope.
Big Spec that comes with Hound. Let me ask you about this one. So,
Okay.
What do you think about the bigger ones, the posable figures? Did you get Takara's skids?
Skids,
sorry,
yes.
Skids.
I got Reboost with the holograph figure.
Yeah.
What did you think of that?
What did you think of that?
Well, once I got the legs to actually stay on, it's nice, but I didn't really have a use for the hologram figure. But then going back and looking at the size for the one that came with Hound, or the Spike that came with Hound, I do like that one a lot more because it's painted and you kind of have that.
Nice.
And what I've been trying to look for is 3D creators that are actually making 3D print action figures.
Is that a thing
that you can go? Yeah, it actually is, because a lot of these people that are ironically model railroad terrain builders, they get these figures because they either use the figurines kind of like what we have with Carly and Raul. They just kind of stand there, or they have other ones that they limited articulation, maybe 5 points, but they're moving around and such. So
that woman's name was Astoria Carlton Ritz.
Wow.
Which is funny.
Good recall from these two.
Yeah, it's nice to have. Oh, well, there's 80 people in the comments, so someone's gonna know the answer to these random questions.
So
let's see. Trans fan says only human figures be nice if they were posable. Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I have the Dr. Wu only human figures, and I wish so. Their early figures were posable. They're Dr. Arkaville. They're what are the two, Spike and Sparkplug? Those are posable, but then they came out with Carly and the only human figure, the little Springer and Cup and all those. Those aren't posable. They're just like figurines. And the worst part, they won't stand. You try to stand them up and their feet are uneven, so they just fall down.
Jeez.
I like the look of them, but I wish they would actually pose. Like so you could pose. So this is a good segue. X-Transbots is including the only human figures with Virtus and Ultra Magnus.
Right.
So
but they don't. It doesn't look like they're articulated.
Non-articulated, yeah. So. But my question to you is: are you willing to pay more to have that in the box, or would you tell them don't include that stuff and just reduce the price a couple bucks?
Again, it's coming down to, and I guess Virtus is a perfect example. I mean, look at all the extra accessories they're throwing into that now. And again, the cost went up from when it was first up for pre-order about 2-3 years ago now. And I look at that and I'm like, I'm not going to use any of this crap. Again, it comes with a great looking display stand, and the gimmick where the clear blades to go around when you put them in helicopter mode. But those are some of the things that I really don't want. Right. Figures, again, you only had a couple really dedicated human characters in there. Something that was missing, at least with like season 3, was Marissa Fairborn in the ERC. That'd be a cool figure to have come out. But does it justify, having it in there if I'm going to pay $30 more? It depends on how much I love the figure.
Yeah. I just asked that question just because I'm curious what people think about human figures.
Okay.
So just getting back to the comments. So this guy, W. Leonard said the screen thing that came with the one KFC Junkions. Yeah, they came with like a little TV, right?
I think, Rekgar came with it. Yeah. But then there were some other ones that came with like a net accessory to kind of simulate, trying to grab RC.
So that can be used dynamically in a display.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with something like that, like an effect. But Mick Luthier says the shockwave gun that with shockwave, even though it was shown in the tune, the idea of displaying him that way hurts my soul. I actually have him holding. I have Shockwave holding the Shockwave gun, which is dumb because he's holding himself. But it doesn't. Does it fit in Megatron's hand? Probably does. I haven't tried it.
I don't know. But going ahead, there's a really good statement in here. It says,
Can you tell me who?
From Dare, accessories are a cheap way to make you feel like you're getting more for your money. That is a really profound statement. And it kind of goes back to that feeling or that question you just asked. Is it worth the money to have all these extra parts? And just another warning, we have a Paik sighting, and it's 9:43. So,
oh wow, that means we've been here too long. If Paik showed up,
either he's taking a break from boxing up stuff or what. So.
Yeah, yeah. So that's interesting. I think they set their price point before they decide what they're going to put in the box, and then if they feel like they've got budget to include more, then they'll probably do it. So I don't know if the accessories change the price, but they certainly are factored in because they can't go over budget, right? They got to have some profit margin.
Well, that's a good question. Going back to this whole thing between Jansen and Tesla 2.0.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people were saying with the cost and the accessories, they felt that it was a justified purchase. And then with Tesla 2.0, people were already accepting the higher price because it's a Fan Toys product. But then they threw in the extra heads.
Right.
Now, did that make people feel better in buying the extra or putting the extra money towards it? Or is it just because of the figure itself?
Right.
So,
let's see. So 64% of people said yes, they do want human figures with their Transformers.
okay.
That kind of surprises me. That's a lot of people. So I guess if you display them that way, you know, in robot mode next to the little figure, it probably works. And most people display in robot mode. You know, my setup isn't that, you know, I have the vehicles kind of mixed in. So a lot of times those human figures just sit on the side because they can't go inside the vehicle. But if they can go in the vehicle, that's even better. I'll take them.
Okay.
Like, I see Lowell says in Takara's Diaclone line, they make really good. Yeah. So Diaclone line is like designed specifically to work with the little figures and put them in the cockpit and like have them mess around. So have you messed with anything Diaclone? Like those little?
No, I have not.
So they're really neat, but it's just not for me. They're Transformers, but they kind of combine, like they have combiner parts basically. That combine into bigger vehicles or different vehicles. Toy World has a Build-A-Figure Starscream for World War I line. I didn't know that.
Okay.
That's interesting. So what do you think about Build-A-Figure? And let me work on the question while you're doing it.
Okay. I mean, have we really seen a lot within the Transformers? I mean, that's a lot, or a main staple, I think, in with the Marvel's Legends line. I can see the allure for it, especially if you would think that the character that you're putting together wouldn't sell enough on its own, or if it's one of those more rare figures. Like a perfect example, I think someone mentioned in a couple of comments on Facebook was like, you know, why would you put together an Autobot Spike Build-A-Figure and put it with like, so say example, like either the Protectobots or
that's a great idea,
or another one of these combiner sets where you can put that extra piece. And I just now remembered, you know, going through and when I was getting the DX9 Stunticons, they actually came with a Build-A-Figure for a Legends scaled Orion Pax, which was basically a repaint of a Legends Cup. But
can you contact X Transbots and tell them that idea? Please include the Autobot Spike in parts as a Build-A-Figure. That'd be awesome because I don't want to pay for it.
Right. Well, I don't have that kind of pool, but I think, you know, we got Paik in here. I know he's trying to hide, but he can always go back to MMC and say, you know,
yeah,
I'll put an extra video together for you guys if you start doing that. And that could be another way that we get some of these obscure figures that companies might not be all in on releasing.
Yeah.
Now, the question is, how are you going to come and say that I want this articulation? What are you willing to sacrifice to have a Build-A-Figure accessory come into things?
This is an interesting question, so I'm going to bring this up. So Dare says, look at the fans' toys, extra heads must have been cheap to make that. That's why they threw them in so quick and price didn't change. I don't think so.
No.
I think they took a hit because I think they decide on the price point much earlier in the process. At least from what I understand on how this works is they look at the mold, they look at the parts, what's the parts count for this thing, how complex it is, how much paint. And then based on that, plus they need some profit, right? To make some money. Then they set a price. At least the manufacturer makes a price. Then the distributors have their price. And then the retailers have their price. So everybody, has to make a little money.
Right.
By the time it gets to us, that price was set a long time ago when they decided on, parts count, materials, paint, whatever. I think Fans Toys took a hit when they decided, let's throw in all these heads because, let's, screw, they have this competition with X Transbots, right? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to, one up them, trying to throw in stuff in the box. That's got to cost them. Those things aren't free. It has paint on it. It's got materials. You got to make the molds to make the plastic. Molds are extremely expensive to make, like 50,000 for some molds. It's crazy.
And I think going back, and just you mentioning the cost for the mold.
Sorry, I was laughing at the.
Bobby had an interview with a designer a couple months ago, and the designer said, when he was working for that company, that they had more than enough money to cover all these quick changes or be able to pivot. I imagine between all the third-party companies that Fans Toys and Next Transbots have that you want to call it oh crap fun if they want to pivot around. So I think they did have to make a quick change to throw in the extra accessories. So
G Tony said New Age is actually doing an Autobot Spike Build-A-Figure.
Really?
What figures is it coming with? I'm really curious about that. I can almost guarantee he's probably going to get it. We know Deluxe will get it.
In all the colors.
All right, so let's see. The poll, 60% or so said no, they would not like to see Build-A-Figure parts with your Transformers. But I don't know how you feel about it. I think no, too. Yeah, if you're going to, so I would rather take out the other stuff and give me the Build-A-Figure. But if you're going to put it in, it's going to raise the price, then my answer is no.
Right.
But if it's the same price and you're just going to take out some of the other junk that I don't need and put in the Build-A-Figure Autobot Spike or something like that, I'll take it.
Right. But again, if it's Build-A-Figure is just going to be another statue, just a larger scale, I don't want it either. I mean, there's that's going back to the same thing we had with we were talking about with these non-posable figurines. They don't really do that much for people.
Jake brings up a good point. If there's any consistency in the accessories that makes them more attractive, but we really haven't had that. That's true. It's all over the place. Every company is like one accessory with this thing, and then like 20 unique things with this one. And it's not like you can build something out of it because they're all different.
Right.
Every time.
And sometimes I think some accessories, and we kind of touched on it again here with what you were saying with Fans Toys adding in the extra features, was some of these accessory packs that are separate. I know we've gone through, and everyone has talked about last year with the accessory pack that was separate from the trailer for X Transbots Minosaur. But one thing we also had that has been corrected with the G2 version that's being released is MMC's Bruticus. You had to buy the accessory pack separate from all the figures.
Right.
So is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, we see two aspects of it. Some people didn't buy it because they're like, oh, well, we don't need it in regards to the MMC pack. But a lot of people, I think yourself included, got really upset with the whole pivot, I guess, and getting the extra costs together
Right. Well,
for.
that was a marketing mistake. So what happened is they posted images of here's our Modemaster,
Mhm.
and here are the extra faces and whatever other things it comes with. And then people asked the question, is this going to come with that? And they said yes. And then later they changed their mind and said, okay, no, accessory pack separate. So it wasn't that people really wanted those accessories and were mad that they didn't get them. It was they said it was going to come with it, but then changed their mind and didn't, and decided to make it. And to be honest, I don't need what's in that accessory pack. It was just too much extra stuff. But it was more the promise and then the change to the promise. That I think that's what people reacted to.
Yes.
I didn't care because I didn't keep it anyway. But had I kept it, I might have wanted some of those things. Not all of them, but at least the extra faces for Menasor. I think those are important to have with
Mhm.
the trailer. Like you get the trailer, give me the one extra face or a couple extra faces for Menasor. G Tony says you have to pre-order to get all those Build-A-Figure parts. Well, hope you're getting that, G Tony, so I can review it because I want to see that Build-A-Figure Autobot Spike. It's almost 10, so we went way longer than I thought. Mike, thank you for co-hosting.
As always, it's a pleasure, and I thank you for again letting me to come on.
Yep. And we'll see more of Mike because I need the help. It's hard to do this show by myself, so it's much appreciated, especially for polls. It makes things easier to have a second person here and also bouncing ideas off. And if you don't know this, I'm a big Fans Toys fan. Mike is a
Mhm.
big X-Transbots fan. It helps balance the show because we have different perspectives, so that's a good
Right.
thing. And that's what I want with these discussions and the community thing and the chats and the Wednesday Night Live is to get all the perspectives out on the table and share, not to, argue, but to hear other perspectives and, kind of open our minds a little.
Yes, and that's a great balance. Sometimes I get a little more fired up, and then you are the calming voice that comes in and says, "Hey, let's think about this. We all like these figures. We all want everyone to succeed,
Yeah.
and no one's taking money out of the other person's pocket. So
Yeah. I'm the
why does it
calm
matter?"
voice on the air, but just behind the scenes when I'm chatting with Pake, definitely not the calm voice.
So,
Anyway, thanks everybody for joining. It was
yeah.
fun. And
Oh,
we'll do
well,
this again.
do you got anything
Next.
coming up, or what do you have coming up, or can
Oh,
you give us a little heads up on anything?
well, yeah, it's a good question. Not to make more controversy, but versus on these two.
Highly
Friday.
anticipated.
Yes. I'm not. So just let me just talk about that. I'm not gonna respond to the comments on that video. I already know what it's gonna look like because I've been getting them all week because I reviewed Tesla earlier this week, and that's okay. I'm gonna read your comments. So definitely participate. Put your comments in. Have the conversations. I even told Mike, the more you participate and engage and leave comments or likes, that's better for me. So leave the comments, but don't be offended if I don't respond because sometimes it's just too much. There's too many comments, or it's just something that I'm not going to spend time. I have to kind of pick and choose. But certainly have conversation and leave comments, and you guys can,
Mhm.
reply to each other. But for
Yes.
this particular video, I'm not planning to reply.
Nope, and we're going to have a lot of time to reflect here since Chinese New Year started, and
Oh
we're going to
yeah,
have that little slow period, so everyone has a chance to go through their accessory packs that they got with these figures. And if you're on the Facebook groups, why don't you show some of your pictures of your favorite accessories,
yeah.
or ones that you don't like, or we can continue this on in the comments section here below. Um, it's just engagement. It's the ability to see what your fellow collectors think.
Yeah.
So
All right. Well, thanks for joining, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Peace.
have a good week, everyone.